Recording in progress.
Hey, we're live.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. It is Monday, June 1st, and I am calling this regular meeting of the Winchester School Committee to order at 4:05 p.m. Our agenda for today is, our public agenda at least is on the shorter side. We will start with public comment. I think we just lost. Yep, there we go. We will start with public comment, and public comment will be for a period of up to 20 minutes. I believe Mr. Merritt, there it is. Anyone wishing to speak before the committee will raise their digital hand and identify themselves once they're elevated by name and address, and she'll speak for no longer than 3 minutes. All remarks are addressed through the chair of the meeting, and public comment is not intended to be a discussion, a debate, or dialogue between residents and the committee. It's just an opportunity for those in the community to express their opinion on issues of school committee business. We're always happy to receive comments in writing. You can email schoolcommittee@winchesterps.org, especially if your comments are longer than 3 minutes. So with that, I will ask anyone here for public comment to raise their digital hand, and we will elevate you. All right, seeing no one raising their hand, I will give it 10 more seconds, but then otherwise close public comment for today, and we will move on to the remainder of our business agenda. Mr. Marin, do you want to pull up the, thanks. All right, so we're going to start with our consent agenda today, which consists of just one item, the $4,250 donation to support our unified bowling at Winchester High School from the Winchester Sports Foundation. Are there any questions or a motion around the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, so with a motion by Ms. Minyarji and a second by Mr. Hopcroft, we will take a roll call vote on accepting the consent agenda, starting with Mr. Belair.
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft?
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So we are 4-0 in favor of that. And so our thanks to the Winchester Sports Foundation for this donation to support bowling. All right, moving right along to item 4. We will be considering the superintendent's recommendation on Massachusetts's school choice program for the 2026-2027 school year. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Hackett.
Matthews. Andrew, if you could go to the next slide. So on a yearly basis, all school districts in Massachusetts either have to actively vote to not participate in the state's school choice program. This is not like our open enrollment where it's our policy, it's between our schools. Inter-district school choice allows, as you can see under the statute, families who are not residents in a community to have their children attend a school that is participating in the school choice program. We have historically not participated in this program, and has primarily been based on actual physical space. Obviously that we're in a little bit of a different situation from a space perspective than we were. However, space also means capacity. So as you all know, we've made some tough choices around our budget related to the override not passing. And when I look across the district and looking at class sizes already, we would not be in a position where we would be able to add additional sections at this point. And every district that does participate in school choice receives $5,000 per student for students who are in the general education program. If there's a cost above and beyond the general education program for any student, then the sending district has to bear that cost. So I am, once again, this year, I am recommending that we do not opt into the, I recommend we opt out of the school choice program. But I do think it would be, I think it's important for us to begin really exploring this a little bit more next year for the 27-28 school year, and see if it does make sense in any particular schools or area to consider school choice. You can determine school choice seats by school and by grade level. Once you accept a student into a school choice program, it's like they are living here. So, and there's also their siblings are given preference if when they're ready to attend school. So if there's a student who's accepted, who's enrolled, and then there's another younger sibling coming up, and they also try to enroll in school choice with a district, and those students are given preference over others who are in the program. So, but like I said, once again, I am recommending that we opt out of school choice for the 26-27 school year. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Hackett, for the recommendation. Committee members, are there any questions you have for Dr. Hackett? Ms. Minyarji?
What is the cost of bringing on a student? Meaning, I'm sorry, the other town cost that they would pay us, the tuition. Is that what it's called, the tuition?
It's called the tuition. They
Yes.
actually they don't pay directly. It's actually the state amount of money. The state pays it through their per pupil allocation, which they will pay up to $5,000. So we essentially claim the student. They go into our enrollment count. We would report them as one of our students in October, but we would only receive $5,000 for the student, and it would essentially be the state now seeing that we're counting that student as part of our enrollment, giving us the $5,000 for that student.
So that's where I was confused, because it says tuition is paid by the sending district to the receiving district.
It's paid from the standpoint as they are forfeiting their state funding for that student.
Got it. Okay, got it. And that's why it's at $5,000, and we can't say, okay, well, we're going to offer tuition to cover our per pupil expenditure, and it's going to be $19,000. We can't do that.
Therein lies the problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there other questions, Mr. Belair?
Can I offer a comment, or are you just looking for a question?
Sure. I mean, comments, questions, all acceptable.
Yeah, I have two things here. I think the first is that is related to the last bullet point here, that we must actively opt out of this on a yearly basis, and I actually appreciate that the state has this in place, such that I think we often might forget that like not doing something is also a policy choice, and I think this is a helpful exercise for us to look at our budget, our needs, the enrollment capacity that we have. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I wish we had a similar mechanism for the METCO program, though. I'm sure that's something we'll look at in the future, hopefully as well. But also, I think in the current moment that we're in, I think it does make sense to look at this. Certainly, we can explore it for next year, but this is a program that, although we've opted out for many, many years, we still are affected by it because we send students to other districts through this program and lose tuition. So in FY24, we sent 3 students elsewhere that was $26,000. In 2022 or fiscal year 2022, it was 10 students, it was $90,000. So even though we're not participating in this program, we are, because of its existence and the fact that we don't participate, we're sending money to other districts through the state as part of that tuition. I do think this is a program that, given that we are one of the highest performing districts in the state, that districts would want to, or students would want to come here, which would, mean that we could have more students, we could have more economies of scale. And I think although $5,000 per student is not a ton of money, I'd like it to be, if it were higher, it would be more lucrative. But for example, Lincoln third grade right now, we have 50 students that are enrolled, which is 16.7 students across 3 sections. If we added 22 students, I mean, that's probably, this is a hypothetical. I'm not expecting us to get 22 students in a specific grade in a specific school, but as kind of a thought exercise, that would be $110,000. That's enough to cover another classroom, and we'd still have class sizes of 18 students. So I think we do have the ability to be selective about what grades, what buildings we would initially accept students into. And I see this as a way for us to secure some additional revenue to cover some of the needs that we have, some of the cuts that we had to make, but also given that we're already at the tipping point where we do have higher class sizes in some grade bands in some schools at the elementary level, I think it can also be an opportunity to if we are going to tip over, to get more money as we're doing that to cover those additional things. So I'm against opting out of this program for this year, though I understand that and appreciate Dr. Hackett's recommendation.
Ms. Minyarji, I see your
Yeah,
hand.
I just had a,
Mr. Hopcroft, did you, I just also wanted to, because I thought I heard you talking, but I just wanted to, if you're interested in joining the conversation, let us know after Ms. Minyarji.
Yeah, listen to Ms. Minyarji and then maybe join in.
Okay, sounds.
yeah, I just had a question, John. Can you run those the figures again? You said we lost 10 students to other districts and it cost us how much?
Yeah, so in FY24, we sent 3 students from Winchester participated in this program to go to other districts, and that was $26,365 according
So
to
why is it 26,000 if it's a $5,000 per student tuition?
Dr. Hackett, I see your hand is raised.
So is that question for you, Dr. Hackett? Sorry.
No, it's no. It's a good question. I honestly, I'm not entirely sure, unless there might have been some additional. I don't know. What did you say for a number, Ms. Belair?
26,365. I know also for like half day kindergarten, it's 2,500. I don't know the specifics of if there are other weights that get applied as part of this.
It could be that. We're anticipating this year that we've sent less than 6 students, and we're anticipating that that will be 35,450 in tuition that will be going to those other districts. Again, that's state funding that we are essentially forfeiting.
Mr. Hopcroft, do you have a question
Sure.
or comment?
Yeah, so yeah, I find the conversation actually very interesting, and I appreciate Mr. Belair's information and analysis here. I would love to see as we look at this in future years, assuming we're going to make a vote today. I'd love to see more of the how this would model out. I shared Nyarji's questions on the math because it sounded like it was 9,000 if they're leaving and 5,000 if they're coming, and maybe different years, different weights, different things. But it'd be good to run that down. The other thing that I'd be curious about is, while we have some, I thought it was a great point that you're making, Mr. Belair, about Lincoln and some of these classrooms where we have the capacity, and I think from what we've heard in the past that our demographic bubble is pushing its way through middle and high school, meaning that as these elementary students move through, I'd love to understand what the impact in middle and high school will be of that, because maybe we have the capacity and helps us retain some teachers, although it also retains expense. So I just love to see it sort of modeled out, because it's more than just it's a systems issue, and understand what the impact would be across the system across time if we did this. But I think we are in a position with a high performing school district that a lot of people want to be here. I think it's a great opportunity to bring a lot more a lot of people into our district that might actually add some lived experience and whatnot that would improve the education for the students who are here. So I think it could be a really good thing. It's just there's often been some other constraint to it, which I'd love to understand, including, lastly, I'll say, what are our actual costs, I guess as part of this, modeling out, what the financial impact is, because our per pupil cost is so much more than this. But anyway, I think it's a great intellectual conversation, and if we had time, I'd say, I'd love to have had this conversation first, but perhaps we just do it for next year.
Let's go to Dr. Hackett first, then come back to Ms. Minyarji. I'm assuming Dr. Hackett has a reaction.
I just would also offer to you that you can also, if the committee decided that they wanted to actually accept tuition paying students to come to Winchester, that's also another option. So that's separate and apart from the school choice program. So if there were, I've been in districts actually where the seats were opened up in a particular special education district-wide program to other districts, and that actually, because of just the economy of scale for districts that did produce some students who are coming in. Also, just to point out that school choice does not provide transportation. So unlike METCO that does provide transportation, we would not be getting the ability of students to take part in school choice would be limited to those families who would be able to get their kids here. Which at the upper level, depending on where they're coming from, that could be a MBTA ride, right? But also just to if not to, I intended to get in this level of conversation today, but when we do the modeling, which I think we absolutely need to do, should do, we also have to keep in mind that it's not just the one teacher, right? If it's a kindergarten classroom, it's the one teacher. It could be additional paraprofessional. If it's once we start looking at the specialist programs, so music, art, PE, there's a point where you would likely there would be a point, and how many you have available, there would be a point where that could affect other staffing just beyond the classroom as well. So I think modeling it out makes perfect sense. I do think it's time for us to look at this because there is no real indication that our enrollments are going to be spiking or getting that we're going to have an unanticipated increase over the next several years. So that's it.
Ms. Minyarji, and I just want to caution, so we do have a pretty hard stop in terms of our executive session. So we're at 4:22. I just want to make folks aware of that because I'm Dr. Hackett, am I correct in saying that in terms of the state's requirements, we do need to take a vote on this today?
You do.
All right, Ms. Minyarji.
Just really quickly, I would be more supportive to welcoming families through this program if we had a fully funded tier 2 program. And perhaps by next year, we will have a successful override that would allow us to build out those intervention services to better service all students. I'm all done.
All right, Mr. Biller, I saw you took your hand down.
Never mind.
All right, Dr. Hackett, I know, and Mr. Marin, I know that there's a particular language that we need to have. Do we have that language for the motion?
It's just simply that the Winchester Public Schools are opting out of the state school inter-district school choice program for the 26-27 school year.
All right, so I would entertain a motion to that effect in response to the superintendent's recommendation at this time.
Motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation for school choice for 2026-2027.
Second.
All right, so with a motion by Ms. Minyarji and a second by Ms. Bolognese, we will take a roll call vote. I will start with Mr. Belair.
No.
Mr. Hopcroft? Oop, I think you're on mute.
Aye.
All right, Ms. Minyarji?
Aye.
Ms. Bolognese?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So we do accept the superintendent's recommendation of an opt-out for the 2026-2027 school year by a vote of 4-1. Thank you all very much. So if we could go back to the agenda. Thanks for that good discussion. And I do promise we'll bring that back so that we can continue the work that needs to be done in advance of next year once we have a better sense of where things wash out for the post-override budget this year. So at this time, our next agenda item is to move into executive session, and that executive session is for purpose 3, which is to conduct a collective bargaining session, specifically a level 3 grievance hearing as required under the collective bargaining agreement with the Winchester Education Association, Unit A, and pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the school committee. Is there a motion to move into executive session at this time?
Dr. Chair, are we going to be coming back into public session after?
I was going to say that when we voted, we are not going to come back into public session after the executive session. We will adjourn directly from that executive session. So there will be no further online meeting in a public way. Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn. Oh, Second.
All right, so we'll call that a motion from Ms. Bolognese, seconded by Ms. Minyarji, and we have to take a roll call vote on this. So, Mr. Belair,
Aye.
Mr. Hopcroft,
Aye.
Ms. Bolognese,
Aye.
Ms. Minyarji,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. So we are adjourned into executive session at 4:26 p.m. Thanks to WinCam and members of the community for joining us today, and have a good rest of your Monday.